Hey guys, this is Brooke here, and just like I promised, I said I would do a part 2 to the video I showed you guys of the entities that I saw in my dreams. And this one is something I saw in 2017. These are the most recent entities I've seen. The ones that I drew from before were kind of like a few years back. Some of them were recent, but this particular entity was something I saw during a lucid dreaming state. And while my fiance was sleeping, I was in the middle of being awake and being asleep, and then I just opened my eyes and I saw this translucent, smoky white thing over my fiance's head, and it kind of looked like an octopus of some kind. So this being, I did a charcoal sketch of this a few days ago. I did these sketches a few days ago. But this is a rough sketch of this thing I saw, and it had like little tentacles. It was like kind of transparent but white, and in the middle there was this dark black nucleus, and then around it was like a gray area. I'm not sure if this is an eye. To me, it didn't really look like an eye; it just looked like a form. But this is exactly what I saw. I drew it as best as I could because I could barely see it. I saw a faint, very faint outline of this thing. But as this thing was floating over my fiance's head, he was tossing and turning really bad in his sleep. So I believe that this thing is a dark being. It might be an astral parasite. If you guys know what this is or have seen it before, please put it in the comment section. But yeah, and just seeing this thing, I think this thing projects thought forms. I believe so, because as I spotted this thing, I think it was aware of me looking at it, and I think it started putting thought forms in my head. I'm not too sure, but so this is what I saw. Yeah, so let me just go to the next picture that I drew. This one was very hard to sketch. I know this looks crazy. I know this is like, what in the fuck is this shit? But this is the best way I can interpret what I saw this one particular time. I think this was a few years ago. And this was a terrifying experience. I was staying at a friend's house. I was sleeping over. I fell asleep and I was sleeping, but in my mind I saw her apartment. And in the corner of her apartment, I saw these things that had these faces, and they had a weird form. Like their form looked like a very thin line of dark matter. That's the best way I could describe it. And it had these very distinct faces, like the mouth and the teeth and the eyes, and they were made of just pure black matter. And they took very strange forms, like jagged lines and things like that. And when I was around this thing, I was screaming. I was in a sleep paralysis, and I was screaming and screaming and screaming. And I thought I was screaming out of my mouth, and my friend heard me screaming, but like she didn't hear me screaming. I was doing that in my dream. So I was in sleep paralysis, and this thing could change forms very rapidly. It fades in and out of reality like a frequency, and they move in such an erratic form. Like they move very erratically. That's the best way I could describe it. It's really hard to explain it. It's like when your computer starts to really get fucked up, and it starts like the screen keeps blinking in and out, and everything just looks really messed up. That's just what it looked like. I can't really describe it. So this is the thing. If you've seen this, please write it down in the comments section. Also, another thing I want to point out is that this thing looked like I can't even describe it, to be honest with you. This is the best way I could draw it. I'm trying so hard to explain it, and I'm just stuttering when I'm talking, so I'm just gonna move on. Here's something I also saw in my dreams. This one was very scary. So I had a dream that I was in my mom's apartment for some reason, and then I was standing there, and something just took me, like magnetically pulled me really hard out of her apartment into the sky and into this being. And as you can see, that this is what the being looked like. Now, I probably didn't capture this as best as I saw it in my dreams, but I did the best I could. The being was huge. The face was made out of pure black matter. it looked very scratchy like this, like very scratchy dark matter. And in the middle is, I guess this is a representation of me. That this being felt like it was like connected to my heart chakra. And in the middle of this being, I was attached to this being in the inner parts. And then this part right here is like a mouth that's devouring. I guess this is my spirit that was in the dream. And then you see these lines here that I drew. I know this looks rough and messy, guys. I'm sorry about that. But when I'm drawing from mind, it can be a little challenging at times, but I just do the best I can do. You see these lines that come out of the heart area. That's how I felt when I was inside of this being. It felt like my heart was being crushed. Like it was sucking the life out of me. Like I felt like, I can't even describe it. It feels very hellish. Like my heart is just, it felt like my light was being crushed and devoured. That's the best way I could describe it. So this being is larger than a city. I think this being was bigger than the World Trade Center, to be honest with you. It was huge. It was a huge, big, monstrous ball of negative energy that was collected from all the people and all the souls of the city. That's the idea that I was getting when I saw this being. It's huge. As you can see, I try to draw the city a little bit here. Like, I didn't give much effort to this, obviously. But this being is huge. And it has this face, like, all these beings that I saw in my dream had this formlessness to them. Like, it was like, I can't even describe it, man. I mean, if you actually saw these beings before, like, if you dealt with dark demonic spirits or spiritual entities, you know what I'm talking about. It's really hard to describe. It's a spiritual thing. Like, it's hard to put it into physicality what I really saw. But it looked very sketchy and scratchy, dark, violent, dark lines. Okay, so this is the other being that I saw, and I only drew 3 of them. I couldn't sleep one night because I felt like there was something around me. This was like a few days ago, so I just decided to take time and just sketch out more beings I saw in my dreams. And again, this middle part is like, I guess it's just connected. Like I'm trapped in this being and it's devouring me or something. But alright guys, like I said, if you guys have seen something like this, please write it in the description and share your experiences. I just want to get to the truth, you know, to figure out what's going on in the spiritual realm so we all can heal. Alright guys, have a great day.